Hi, I'm Andrew. I am the group publisher at cybersecurity.asia.net. And this morning, I'm really pleased to be here with Courtney Guss, who is the Director of Crisis Management at Semperis. And we're going to chat not just about crisis management, but a little bit about her journey and also about other things that Semperis do. So we're going to jump straight in. Courtney, thanks for joining us today. Do you want to tell us just maybe just a little bit about yourself and the journey that led you to your current role as Director of Crisis Management?
Sure, absolutely. I have a little bit of what we call a non-traditional journey in the cybersecurity space. I actually started in the insurance sector, and I spent 12 years working for the National Flood Insurance Program in the United States. So that was kind of my first intro into emergency preparedness and crisis management, but really on the natural disaster side of the house. And then about 10 years ago, I moved into cybersecurity and ran a risk management operation for a large global e-commerce retailer. And then moved into IBM Security and then onto Semperis as the Director of Crisis Management. And I think kind of the underlying component of all that is the concepts of risk management, emergency preparedness, and crisis management are the same regardless of the industry that you're in. It's really just the application that's a little bit different. So I think that's kind of how I got here and why I bring a slightly different perspective when I work on that.
Yeah, and I guess actually that perspective is probably really useful because it's not always straightforward about what you've got to think about, right? You've got to be prepared for any curveball that comes at you.
Exactly, yeah. And really trying to manage the IT and cyber piece with the business as well. So understanding how that piece drives the business and how the business then supports the security side.
Okay, excellent. Just to sidetrack slightly because Semperis is very well established, but it may not be that well known, particularly to some of the viewers in this part of the world. So do you want to give us just maybe just a little bit of background on Semperis as well?
Sure, absolutely. So Semperis is really, or Semperis, the names are interchangeable. No problem at all. I just wanted to call that out. We are traditionally an Active Directory and forest recovery organization. We're really here to help you not only secure your Active Directory, but if something were to happen, then bring that back up and restore and recover as quickly as possible. Active Directory is one of those systems that's within almost every single organization, but often forgotten because it's been there a long time. It's an older system within the assets. And so people don't always spend as much time understanding or securing Active Directory as we should, but it drives everything that we do. All of your identity is run through Active Directory, is stored and managed through Active Directory. Then that identity is used to sign on to all of the applications and systems that you use within the organization. And so at the end of the day, if your Active Directory goes down, your entire operations typically go down. And so the quicker you can respond and recover is really critical to keeping businesses moving forward. And that's really what we're here to do. Through that Active Directory journey or evolution, we realized that Active Directory outages can really impact the business. And then we've recently kind of moved into the crisis management incident response space as a direct evolution of that journey.
Okay, that makes sense. So that's so because of the impact that can occur from Active Directory, that a lot of your clients actually that get breached end up in a real crisis situation. Absolutely, so hence that natural progression. But just to come back on Active Directory just a little bit more, because it's not, it's not one of the hot buzz things that we hear a lot. We don't hear people talking about it a lot. Right now, everything is about AI threat and deep fakes, and that's what we're hearing in cybersecurity. But when it comes to Active Directory, I mean, just how much of a target is it? And do you feel that people really understand, where to prioritize Active Directory in their security posture?
That's a great question. I believe Active Directory attacks are on the rise globally. It's something that you're seeing threat actors realize that there's not a lot of expertise within organizations around securing, maintaining, and restoring or recovering Active Directory. So it's an easy target. And in that regard, it's something that the business should be paying very close attention to. On top of that, when you're thinking about prioritizing restoration and recovery, so after an incident, which systems are most critical to our operations and we should be restoring and recovering in that order, Active Directory really should be at the top of that list because everything's driven through that identity management. And oftentimes that's overlooked as well. We might be, for a financial services organization, for example, we might be thinking that our banking application is most critical. but no one's getting on that application without Active Directory up and operational. So when you're thinking about prioritization, Active Directory should be at the top of that, and it's also at the top of that threat actor list as well. So it really should be a critical component of your security posture as well as your response and recovery plan.
Yeah. So people, even though it's not one of those hot buzz things that is getting a lot of press, people really should be paying attention to it. It's like low-hanging fruit for the bad guys.
That foundational element that you should be protecting, but also monitoring and maintaining. Very important.
Okay, so let's come back to the crisis management side of things, because I think that's slightly newer for Semperis, and obviously it's what you do. So do you want to tell us a little bit about what you are doing in that area?
Absolutely, yeah. So again, through our experience in the incident response and recovery space when working with Active Directory, we found that organizations really struggle to manage the business side of a crisis, whether it's cyber related or non-cyber related. Because oftentimes, when we move out of the technical incident response space and you move into the business, the processes become quite manual. So you're actually trying to pull together different teams and different business units, but in a very manual way, using documentation like Excel or Word documents and our personal cell phones. So you've got security concerns, you've got access issues, you're not able to get onto your normal systems, and then on top of it, you're managing manual processes and business teams that don't normally have to respond in a crisis. So everybody's a bit of a fish out of water. So what we wanted to do was try to bring some order to that. So how do we help automate some of those processes? How do we bring communications together so that teams can work together more easily? How do we bring documentation in so that people can securely run through runbooks and playbooks? And really all of those different pain points, how do we relieve each one of those and bring them into kind of one automated platform? And that's where Ready1 came from. And Ready1 is really meant to automate and streamline that crisis management response for the business, regardless of where the crisis starts.
Okay, and is it dependent on having other Semperis products in, or can people actually just come to you for crisis management?
You can come to us just for crisis management. Obviously, Active Directory is our specialty and our area of expertise. So one of the things you get when you work with Ready1 is Active Directory and recovery playbooks. It's kind of a way to get started, because oftentimes playbooks and runbooks take some time to build and develop, and we're the experts in recovery and Active Directory. So that's something that we do provide just to give customers a leg up, but you can absolutely just bring on Ready1. It's a fully out-of-band solution. It's decoupled from the network, so that way you're not worried about security or integrity or access in the event of an outage. So the other piece is it's actually separate from our other products in that regard.
Yeah, which I guess for crisis management, it has to be.
It has to be, right? We don't want to be attached to everything else. We want to make sure you can get to it when you need to.
Yeah, understood. So, okay, so I think we've covered off at a high level the things that we wanted to go through today, but as you know, our audience and our readership is largely based in Asia. So the final question I've got for you is, can you give us any understanding about the company's commitment to this region?
Absolutely, yeah. So our growth in Asia has been exciting. It's been very rapid, and we're building the team out here as well. So we've got team members in Singapore and Australia, and actually expanding to other countries throughout Southeast Asia. And my colleagues here are actively on the ground working with customers in Indonesia, and Thailand, India. So I think our growth and our footprint here will only continue to grow, just as the targets and the threat actor activity here continues to grow as well. So
yeah, so
keeps
true.
us very busy,
So true, brilliant. Courtney, thanks so much for your time this morning. And if you want to know more about what Semperis are up to, you can check that out on cybersecurity.asia.net. Thanks again. Thanks, Courtney.
Thank you.
One take.